Have you ever wanted to just drop everything and move to the other side of the world? Tonight's guest did just that. He's American acupuncturist Gregory Rosebrook. You're going to meet him right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EDDYlive.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Gregory Rosebrook,
Hey,
my man.
what's up, man? It's good to see you.
Nice to see you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Sorry, today's a bit of a...
It looks a little
Everything's
bit, a little
crashing
hectic.
down.
It's cool.
Yeah?
That's
So-
life, man. That's life.
Brother, the first question I got to ask you, my man, is
yeah.
why Taiwan?
Taiwan.
Everybody always wants to know why Taiwan.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know,
Yeah.
I
Started off.
came. I think first time I came here is like a.
Salud.
Oh, cheers, man.
Sorry, I
yeah,
don't
you got
wanna
to start
cut- I don't
right.
wanna
Yeah,
cut you
yeah,
off.
yeah. So I started coming here about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Visit a friend, and then started meeting people, and it just felt good, man. I always had a good time, good interactions with people.
Okay.
And it's a huge contrast to being in the States, being in
Yeah.
California, and that whole thing there, which I guess we'll get into.
We will.
Is this freaking intense there? But I always just felt good here, man. It's just like it became like my place, you know.
Okay.
And then over time, you just keep meeting people and making more friends and exploring. It's like this place is really cool. So it's like so it became like a second home even before I moved here. So
Gotcha.
so it's good place to be.
So you're saying 10 years, right?
I first time I came was 2014. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And originally, what was the original reason that brought you here?
When I first came,
Yeah.
just visiting a friend. It was like
Okay.
they moved back. I mean, they're from here. They're like, hey, come visit me. I'm like, okay. I didn't know anything about, but it, you know, I mean, I'm, you know, do acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So I was like, yeah, Taiwan, cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll go check it out. It's like, oh, this is a freaking cool place. I loved it.
Is it your first stop in Asia? Was it your first?
No, I've been in Asia multiple times when I was younger,
Okay.
back in the military days. You know, I'd been to Japan, Thailand, and South Korea, things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And what made you to be like, okay, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm just gonna drop everything. I'm gonna leave the States. Born and raised here. I'm out. Like, you even did military work, military service.
When I was younger, yeah.
Said, I'm done. I'm going. I'm moving to Taiwan.
That's a multi-layered response there, dude.
Okay.
That could take us a few hours.
Perfect.
But no,
we got
we're not going to go into all of it. But
Okay.
so I mean, originally when I first came first few times, I'm like, I think I want to move here. I mean, I just wanted to get out of the States. I wasn't happy where I was. You know, I loved what I do, and I'm good at it. You know, and I had the opportunity to help thousands of people. You get their life in order, you know, the acupuncture and the therapy work I did. I mean, a lot of things. So it's an honor in some ways, but I was freaking just, all I was doing is working. So I wasn't really living my life, you know? So, and then, so why Taiwan? Like, there's a question, why here?
Yeah, why here? Well,
I was kind of planning over years, like, I think I want to move there.
Okay.
And I've talked to a lot of my friends here over the years, and they probably like, yeah, whatever, dude. They probably thought it never happened.
Yeah.
And originally I was gonna, so then finally, sort of was gonna come in 2020.
Okay.
Right. And then the freaking plague hit, and that got manipulated and became the mess it was, and all that shit.
That's a whole nother podcast.
We won't talk about that. Yeah, because you might make some enemies. But it was definitely utilized by higher, whatever, upper people.
Okay.
So I was going to move then.
Okay.
And but then that threw everything off. So I was there for a couple more years. Some ways good because had some more time with my son, and I was working, and loved a lot of my coworkers and my son and all that stuff.
Yep.
So it was good. It was mixed,
Gotcha.
But then you have to deal with all the whole shit show of like post pandemic world, and restrictions and all the conflicts that arise from that. Yeah. So then finally came around time, things were lining up, and things weren't changing with me in my life. It's like, a little getting more cynical, how I was interacting with the world, how I saw it. Things were getting the quality of life was going down. People aren't, for what I see, people aren't really happy. I wasn't happy. I go through these dark spells. I'm like, dude, this isn't freaking sustainable. It's not sustainable, no. So finally, I kept, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then like coming to the point of actually turning your life upside down, like,
Yeah.
I was working in 3 different clinics, and I was doing extra work at the fight gym, treating people, the fighters and stuff. And it's like, well, shit, am I going to do this? And, it's like scary once you come down to it. I'm like, shit, am I going to do this? But then I was like, I don't have a choice. I have to do this. Like, I'm not living my life. And like, I feel like, it's kind of a continuation of a old spiritual path I was on when I was younger too.
Gotcha.
And I believe that like certain parts of you have to die in order to reinvent yourself. And if you never do anything different, you're not going to get any different results. Your life is not going to be any different. And you're going to be stuck in the same shit over and over again. And the same self-concept, you have to do something very radical to reinvent yourself. And it's not like just like, oh, I'm just going to change my ideas and live in the same environment. It's just, it's not likely.
Yeah.
Especially with like, if you're looking at more like deeper structures of like who you are, how you are, and what your habits and your ideas are. And some ideas just aren't worth having, but some of them we have perpetually, and it's just like perpetual rehearsal of who we think we are. But then we have this idea of who we think we want to be and should be. Yeah. And if those things don't align, then we're usually freaking miserable as a result. Yeah. So that's where I was, right?
Understandable. Yeah. Was there like a final straw that broke, the camel's back?
I hit that point many times, dude. Okay. There was points when I was like, I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore. I just burn out from work, or just being in a dark spiral, or just being too cynical. Yeah, whatever, or lonely, or just not living the life I wanted to, is how I see who I should be. Okay. So I hit it many times, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. And then you end up doing it more. You go for a little bit longer because you're afraid to like to pull the plug. Yeah, it's like it's kind of big. Like I was working, had all these things going, and my whole life I knew. Yeah. And then you just turn that upside down. Yeah. It's a little bit frightening.
And so how long ago was this, man? Like it's been a couple months since you've been here?
Like, I arrived
fully.
Yeah, I arrived on January 4th. Okay. Right.
I don't even know what month it is.
So right now I'm still in vacation mode, to be honest with you. Like a lot of things I want to layer in, like different hobbies, my practices, my internal practices, meditation, or whatever, inner work I want to do, but then my hobbies, I'm still trying to layer that in. Okay. But for the most part, right now I'm taking it easy. I get out, do some hiking, and meet up with some friends, and met some new friends, met some, people in the martial art world here as well, doing some work with them. And so, but it's still vacation mode, and it'll probably be that way for a while. I'm starting to layer things in. Okay. Yeah. But I don't want to be needlessly busy with a bunch of things.
Yeah, no, you came to not be busy.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And to restructure everything from inside out. So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You were saying that it's hard to pull the plug.
Yeah.
And it is very hard. And most people would not pull the plug. Because they're born and raised in their country, and they stay there, and that's maybe family's there, maybe something's there that's like it's normal. Like you stay here, everybody thinks I want to go to Mexico, I want to go to Brazil, or I want to go somewhere. But I think most of the people will never go.
Yeah, it's true, and I hear that a lot too. Like, like people are like, oh, that was very brave. Yeah, or very freaking reckless. But like, so brave, reckless. It's the same thing but different. Yeah.
I think it's all about. You just, you got to live. You just got to take that shot.
Yeah.
And I've been here for a long time. I planned on coming here for a couple of years. I know you did some military service, right?
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
I actually was going to be a police officer in Canada. So, I have, about as opposite as you can get from what we were chatting about earlier.
Yeah.
And I just have always liked to help people and stuff like that. Yeah. And I did all my tests, got all the way to the end, and passed the physical and the written and all that stuff. And then when I got to the very end, I think I was 21 or 22. And the very last interview, I failed that because they said that, I come from a small town. I don't have like the big life experience. And I was like, okay, but I mean, like I'm Mexican. I speak Spanish. Like, this is, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, you can reapply. And I said, okay, well, when can I reapply? They said 2 years. I said, what am I supposed to do for 2 years? I have to get life experience. So
All right,
I decided finishing my soccer coaching job in Canada.
Yeah.
And then I came here, and I was kind of also in like a place where I wasn't that happy. And I was like, I'm getting out of here. And I'll come back a new person, refreshed. And I just never left. This place is awesome.
It never happened.
Why the hell would I leave?
Yeah,
this place is
exactly.
great.
I hear that a lot. Like people who's been here for a while, like, what's there to go back to?
Yeah.
Why would I go back? You know, and they've maybe seen it. What's going on back there? They've seen it coming for a while. It's like this decline of the Western world, and like no, I want nothing to do with it, right? So,
and I hate to throw a lot of my friends that have been here under the bus.
Yeah,
but when they go back, they regret it. They're like, why did I go back?
Exactly.
Why did I come back here? They're like, I knew it, and some of them were, even teaching and stuff, they were doing pretty well out here.
Yeah.
And, they got to meet some women, and they got decent jobs, and they get to travel from, Taiwan's like a hub. You can go to Thailand and you can go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And, then they went back home and, they partied for a couple months because, all the money that they saved here. Then they went back. And then they're broke again. One of my buddies, he went back to States, and I swear the guy looks like Captain America, right? And he come out here, and he's like super fucking great looking dude.
Yeah.
And he's like super fit, and he could never get out of that mode of like overthinking it. Like he's like, well, what should I say? What should I say? I'm like, here, when people look like you don't have to say anything. you just show up, just walk in, because you're you.
Okay.
It's basically Captain America.
Nice.
And so he was just overthinking it. And then when he went back, and the last I heard, he went back and he was working at the liquor store. And I'm like, dude, you were the king of this island. Like even I was like, okay, you're the man.
The story of wasted potential.
I'm like, yes. I'm like, dude, you're the man. So yeah. But anyways, so most of the people that I know that go back, the men that go back there, they're not too happy.
No, I mean, I wasn't happy before I left. What's going to change? If I go back,
exactly.
Things there aren't changing. Well, they're changing probably for the worse. The quality of life is going down. So what? Plug into what? It doesn't make sense.
I also feel this time when I went back, I felt definitely very different. So I hadn't been back since pre-pandemic. It was like 5.5 years.
Yeah.
So it was very different. Very different.
Yeah.
And I love Canada, and I love going back to visit, and I love my family. I love my parents. I'm super happy that, I love going back there. I love going back to see my friends. But it was definitely a very different feeling to go back there. And
pretty heavy vibes.
It was pretty heavy vibes, and it was pretty like it's pretty woke. There was a lot of really weird things. You can't say this, you can't say that, you can't go there, can't do this, you can't. And I'm like, what? I'm on vacation. I thought I just came to hang out with.
I'm a tourist.
Like, I am a tourist here. So why can I not just do anything, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of wokeness, I think that you're from California, right?
Ooh.
So that's kind of where it started, all that stuff.
Yeah,
right? I think, or
at least
it's crazy there, or what's up with that?
Yeah. I mean, you have to be very careful what you say when in all these circumstances. I mean, particularly like I was working in the medical field.
Sure.
I mean, you have to be very cautious. You can't even if you don't take a side, but like you approach things somewhat philosophically. Okay. And I have, are policy based, and like there's certain things that historically are okay or not okay, or moral, the moral structure around things or whatever. You got to be careful, because if people identify like, oh, you're speaking sort of from this perspective, one, they'll call you all these names, because they can't have a functional dialogue. Yeah. But also, I mean, I've seen accounts of people will destroy your life if they call you one of those names, whatever category it fits into.
Okay, yeah.
And they just makes your life freaking hell, and you got to be very cautious. So I'm in a clinic doing clinical work, and some people, you're seeing them, as humans. So luckily I don't get too political, but inevitably people bring things up, and that's a hotbed of just crappy ideas, and you just got to be very careful. And I don't want to say things one way or the other, but you have to be cautious. And it makes socializing harder, makes having, deep friendships hard. It just makes a lot of things more difficult than it needs to be. Because, back when we were coming up, we had friends of, all kinds of friends. Yeah. And some people had weird ideas. Some people had, similar ideas. we agree to disagree, and we all get along, and it's like and we argue about it, and then we make fun of each other. It's like, oh yeah, you have stupid ideas. Okay, cheers.
Exactly.
But now it's just like, no, I will destroy your life. You're a freaking whatever bad name they want to call you, and then so it's not fun, dude. You always got to be on guard.
That's tough.
Yeah,
and then that I would imagine raises anxiety, right? Like you always have to kind of be, with your guard.
You got to be on.
Yeah,
well, then even on a physical level, like we were talking about this earlier, you're going out going somewhere, you get physically confronted. People want to, just fight you, for, having good posture and walking through, the neighborhood.
A confident, successful guy who's enjoying his life.
I had people come at me, and it's like, I shouldn't have to live like this,
That's
so yeah, it's not good. And then you see just the crime and all these things, and whatever.
I have a question about the California crime sort of thing and the law. Obviously, I live in my little bubble. I watch UFC. I like watching.
You have a good bubble.
My UFC and my restaurant. How to make my restaurant better.
Yeah.
I love food and how to make my YouTube channel better. That's basically all the content I consume.
That's good,
right? Yeah. But I do see this and that. And what about this thing about the $950 sort of minimum for crime in California? Like you can go and start taking iPhone. Is that real? That can't be real.
It's worse than that.
Is it?
I mean, 900 is just, that doesn't mean shit. Like how where they gotta like look at the price tag, and people were walking out with armloads of things from like fancy department stores, electronic stores, wherever, and it's way more than $900. But they just refuse to prosecute it because all these other problems, and then with the police and certain demographics, if something happens, and then it just creates a whole nother level of problems. So they just decided, like, basically in some places and in some circumstances there is no law, and the $900 thing doesn't mean anything.
Really?
It's worse than what you've probably seen.
Really?
Yeah, it honestly is. A lot of businesses are closing down, like in San Francisco. A lot of pharmacies, a lot of shops are closing. People are just like, okay, I'm done. Can't do it. Yeah, so it's why do you think I'm so cynical?
That's crazy. It was just like
not just a dark person for no reason.
Okay, no, I mean, you don't seem dark at all.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Like, no, for me too. Like when I saw that, and I saw people just going in and stealing like TV
every day. I see videos of it every single day.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
And I'm curious, who eats that? Like, is there the government eats that, or the business owner? I mean,
probably the business owners. I mean, I think that's why a lot of them are closing. They can't. Yeah, they can't. It's not sustainable.
So you come in and you just, that's a nice TV. I'm gonna rip it off.
They are no problem. Whatever. All the pharmacies, now they lock everything up. Everything has a plastic, lid on it. It's
I didn't even think about the pharmacies.
Yeah, no, they just go in and like steal it. There's load up bags. Like, okay, we're going shopping today, or the Nike store, or whatever. And I don't, say, it's just rampant, and it's obviously it's not getting better.
Shoot, man. I have a buddy that moved back to California, and he said he's kind of not like in the epicenter of that craziness. So they're liking it, but he said that there's like a big homeless problem and stuff downtown. It's like tent cities.
Not just downtown, like even
everywhere.
East Bay, where I was at. I mean, you go to like down these service roads or under the bridges. I mean, there's whole lines, these encampments, and you see people, crapping in the street and like freaking out, like these industrious tweakers, like just, doing random shit.
Because you think of California, like you think like I think In-N-Out Burger. I think Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think Venice Beach.
Surfing. Yeah.
That's
cool.
what I think.
Yeah.
I think California.
Cool, beautiful people.
People like blonde women with like this like bronze tan. Like that's what I think.
Sounds cool. Sounds neat.
Yeah.
But I think most people I see in like certain areas, everyone wants to be a freaking gangster. Like there's like the people identify with that. Even like just normal people. It's just like the toxic aspect of like pop culture is just like
I've seen a lot of the I don't know, like I grew up so my dad's like an old rock and roll guy. So like Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. Classic rock, right? My mom, they're both Mexican, but my mom, we listen to all the classic Mexican stuff, cumbia and stuff like that, right? And then I grew up, going through like rap and all that. So I got a pretty good, mix of stuff. But now when I see this stuff, I sound like an old man. When I see this stuff today, like it's like everybody's tattooed up.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's crap music, and I'm like, what? Am I old, or is it really bad? What's
Yes. Yes to both. Yeah. No, I'm old too.
yeah,
I'm the old man in the room. But no, it's just so much. Yeah, it's just
Joe?
I don't know. It's just I think it's just, rather degenerate, overall.
But it's
Ultimately,
crazy.
yeah, it's sad, and
It is sad.
so I mean that's back to why I'm here. I felt like I had to get out, man. It wasn't healthy to be feeling that dark and cynical all the time.
Course.
Yeah. It's like okay, that's not helping me progress in my life, and like what I want to do, how I want to be, how I see myself, or my my younger version of myself, like the vision I had of who I was, which for in a lot of ways I fulfilled, in what I do.
Yep.
But being stuck in that was not doing me any favors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, how are you feeling? Sort of, you're in honeymoon mode, right? Like vacation mode.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like transitioning now,
Yeah.
right? So how's that feeling? How's the transition?
It feels great, man. Like, like we were talking about like that pulling the plug.
Yeah.
And I had, some anxiety before. And even when I got here, you're tired, you're stressed and all the, just, I turned my whole life upside down. What did I do? Did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
But, it kind of put in perspective, before when I was there, I always had this nagging voice in my head. It's like, every day, it would just be this unconscious voice, like, oh, I freaking hate my life. It wasn't me. It was just this voice.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
And it's like, and I was like, dude, I got to do something different. This is not working. I can't just keep doing this. And it was interesting. I was walking around one night when I got here. First couple of days was a little, stressful or whatever, just traveling and all that stuff. I was walking around one night and it was raining, at night. And I was just kind of doing a little walking meditation. And I was like thinking to myself, oh, I haven't heard that voice recently. And then all of a sudden,
vacation.
Yeah, well,
First one in a while.
And then all of a sudden, this other voice came up, like, "Oh, I fucking love my life." I'm like, "Oh, I haven't heard that voice forever," and it's been like
beautiful.
Probably been like almost 8 or 10 years since I could honestly say that I love my life. And there's aspects of my life I love, right? But the totality of it was just like it wasn't working.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I made the right decision, and that's the thing when coming here before. And I think just travel in general, but for me, it was happened to be Taiwan.
Yeah.
There's always so much anxiety and darkness and pain there, just so much cynicism. But when I come here, back there, it felt like I always had to energetically press back against all the negativity and all the intensity. And, so I'm always like, feel like I'm spending so much energy pressing back.
Keep your gloves up.
But I fail miserably most of the time. And it still comes in.
Okay.
But every time I came here, I felt my heart was at peace, right?
Okay.
I felt all that energy that I normally used to press back against all the shit. Now that energy can be for like spontaneity, creativity, positive relationships, positive like self relationships as well, like what I want to do, the positive vision of how I want to be. So my heart was at peace, right? So I figure, in contrast to there, where it's like I'm just stressed and anxious and dark, just darkness all the time.
Yeah.
I was at peace here. Over the years, I was thinking, well, if your heart's at peace in a certain place, that should be your home.
That should be your home.
And if there's a place where you feel unsafe and anxious and depressed, you should get away from that, right? I mean, that's just a smart thing to do. It was. It's not, just the smart thing to do.
It's the smart thing to do.
Yeah,
for sure. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it's not easy, but even this base level self-preservation, what to speak of like self-elevation, right? Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
So coming here, you're an acupuncturist, right? In the States, right? The Chinese medicine and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to be here, where it's kind of like, almost like the mecca of Chinese medicine? And how are things different from, like, let's say American style Chinese medicine or Taiwan style Chinese medicine? Is there a difference? Or
there's a lot of different ways people practice. People, the specializations they get into, or some people gravitate towards different approaches.
Gotcha.
And I don't know. I haven't, obviously, I don't know a lot of the acupuncturists here. I know some people that are acupuncturists, and they're very much into the traditional methods and like the traditional Chinese herbs, and they get all scholarly about it and stuff. Back in California, I was specializing more in like sports medicine, orthopedic acupuncture. So very more physical medicine.
Gotcha.
Not so much the traditional like Chinese medicine.
Okay.
A little bit of the classical Chinese medicine, which kind of delves into more of like kind of Taoist, like spirituality and things like that, which is cool. But I wouldn't say I do a lot of the traditional Chinese medicine. Yeah.
Is the I've been here for a while, so I've missed the whole wave of everything back home. So I know that they do the cupping here, and I've seen that recently, maybe the last few years. It seems like some of the UFC fighters are getting cupped.
Yeah.
So has that? I mean,
I see that a lot on like
has that been a long time?
A lot of athletes like in the Olympics. I've seen that past few Olympics. And some sports, but even a lot of the people I was treating back at the fight gym there.
Okay.
I've cut the shit out of them before the fight. It was almost like, like a marking, like, okay, getting prepared, like, okay, went through fight camp, and they had me cup them. So I was doing cups, the gua sha, I did adjustments and chiropractic, bone setting, did acupuncture. And
was that always a thing there, or is that something new over there?
I think it's been relatively new. Yeah. I mean, one of my first gigs out of grad school was at a sports medicine clinic, and they were trying to integrate it. And at that time, it was being integrated into a lot of other, hospitals or like pain management clinics and things like that. So it's definitely from the time I was coming up, and before I went to grad school, I was apprenticing and did this whole other thing, which maybe we'll get into the history of how I got into it. Like it wasn't, you see like random clinics here and there, or maybe in Chinatown or something like that. But it wasn't, I didn't know, like when I was in school, like if I'm going to get a job with this stuff. I just knew that like, I loved it, and it's cool, and it's a great way of having a cool career and helping people. So but it turns out that it became pretty popular,
Well, when I came here, I didn't know anything about acupuncture or cupping or anything, and I went to a place and I was like, oh, I don't really believe in that stuff. And then they're like, just lay down, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And then they did it, and I was like, oh, this is great.
Like, oh,
where has this been all my life? And the cupping, moving the muscles around with the cup and all that. And I thought, well, this is amazing. And then there's sometimes where there would be a lady. So there's this old movie. This old like B movie by Heath Ledger. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called The Sin Eater.
No,
it's like a super B movie, right?
Nice.
So whenever people were before they died, they wanted to kind of repent and give up their sins. There was this guy who's called the Sin Eater, and he would just eat their sins, basically.
It's nice of him,
right? Yeah. So they would go to heaven or whatever.
Okay.
And
some atonement.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. And so this one clinic I used to go to all the time, it kind of reminded me of that, because you would go and they would be kind of like rubbing out whatever, like doing the cups and doing all this stuff. And the person who was doing it would kind of do it, and she's like, oh, this is a really bad one. And they would just kind of like rub it deep, and then they would be like, ugh, and they like burp it up as if they absorbed it.
Nice.
And like burped it out.
Purging out your karma.
Like, they're purging it out. Like they're purging it out.
Nice.
And I'm just kind of like, And I was asking, and I look at my wife, I'm like, why the hell is this lady burping like crazy, you know? And like, cause they was like,
Nice.
And I was like, so it reminded me of that like old B movie, The Sin Eater, which probably nobody has ever seen.
No,
but
that's kind of funny though. That's kind of cool.
So that obviously that's probably the extreme, right? That's probably not.
Yeah, sensationalization of the
like literally they're like they would like I'm taking your bad chi and I'm burping it out.
I mean, they do that with like say like more the medical qigong or energy medicine where you're taking it on, but you're not supposed to take it on. You're supposed to pass the shit out and but the similar thing. But some people get really sick when they're doing that. Like the patient will feel really good,
Joe,
and the practitioner will feel like total crap. So I mean, there's aspects of that, but a lot of people don't buy into it. But I can say I think there's some legitimacy to it, but it's just hard to explain it by conventional means. But as far as like your response to acupuncture, the people come in doubting. I love those patients because they come in, they're so skeptical and they're like, "What is this? What are you gonna do?" Like, I don't believe in this. Shit. And then afterwards, like, they're like, "Oh my God, this is freaking great! I feel great." Like, why didn't I come to see you first? Because usually it's like you're the last line. In people's like medical care, like they're struggling,
I actually when I get sick here, I will go first to the Chinese medicine.
Nice, yeah.
Because I don't want to take antibiotic, unless I really have to.
Yeah, last resort.
Yeah, that's the last exactly. So it's the opposite for me.
Yeah,
we got a comment here that says, Mention UFC. Your guest looks like Oleg Taktarov. There you go. Oleg remember that
cool.
guy?
Thank you.
Back in the day, Oleg.
I don't know who that is.
Mention UFC. Oh, Oleg Taktarov. He actually is an actor now, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I seen, and he's a fighter from back in the day. That's probably like UFC. I would say 2, 3, 4, 5. Like
really? Okay.
Like
way back.
Like Russian dude, obviously with the name.
What's his name again?
Oleg Taktarov. We'll have to Google him.
All right. Yeah, I have to look this guy up.
He's great.
Yeah, I get that sometimes. Look like some Russian mafia or something.
There you go.
I've been accused.
Have you? So in Taiwan, so in the West, they always have the stigma of Asians all look the same, right?
Yeah.
And then when you come here, they think we all look the same.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been here for 20 years. So I've gone from like, this guy looks exactly like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'll take that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, Adam Sandler. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
You're pushing it, buddy.
And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then, so this is a hilarious story. I was teaching this summer camp and I had this junior high girls.
Yeah.
And this one girl, he always says, there's always the little girls with the crush on the teacher. He's like, oh my God, you're like best looking guy, blah, blah, blah. And she's saying, you remind me of this actor. And he's like the best looking, person ever. Right. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, well, who is it? She's like, I can't remember his name. I'm going to go home. I'm going to Google it and I'm going to tell you who it is. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, who is it? I'm like, is it Ronaldo? Is it Cristiano
Jack
Ronaldo?
Black or something?
And she's just like, no. Ronaldo is like nothing compared to this guy.
Ronaldo.
And I'm like, holy shit. I'm
Okay.
like, Brad Pitt. I'm like, who? I'm like, who? And she's like, no. And I'm like naming all like the best looking dudes on the planet. And she's like, no, destroys that guy. And I'm just like, holy crap, destroys. And I'm thinking, this is great.
I got it going on.
Yeah. Right? I got it going on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So
you sign your poster or what?
No, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
the man here. All good.
Yeah.
And then the next day, and I'm like, hey, did you figure it out? She's like, yes, I figured it out. Mr. Bean.
No shit.
And I'm just like, oh, my jaw just dropped to the ground. She's like, Mr. Bean's like the most like handsome guy like ever. I love him. And I'm like, Mr. Bean.
You have to make the
and
face.
I'm just like, like Mr. Bean.
I love
and I'm
it.
like,
yeah.
is better looking than Ronaldo. And she's just like, oh, he's the best. And I was blown away.
He's so well dressed.
And I'm just like, Mr. Bean.
Wow.
So it's like Ronaldo, Adam Sandler, Mr. Bean.
Wow.
That's my progression in Taiwan.
That's rough. I was get some random action, star or maybe no name, just an ambiguous action movie star. Like
the sunglasses on, I'll be there.
Yeah, you're a hitman.
Yeah. There you go.
Used to, well, anyways.
Well, you never got Mr. Bean. So
no, I didn't get Mr. Bean yet.
Got Mr.
No,
Bean,
yeah. We'll see.
That was a shocker, man. Yeah.
That's a letdown.
It's a huge letdown. So, with your background, you have background in martial arts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there's some, over time.
A little bit of that, yeah?
Yeah. And that's how I got into acupuncture, some too. And
how does that connect? Yeah.
So it goes acupuncture, I think the acupuncture started, like the seed for it was like when I was a little kid. I was always spaced out and tranced out, grew up in the country and I was always out just, out in the woods and talking to animals and shit. Yeah. It's like, it was interesting. I had a vision of myself when I was very little and I was this kind of wandering kind of monk, sage, healer dude, but also like protector. That was like, maybe it's
a superhero.
Maybe it's from like watching Star Wars or something, but like in my mind, that was like my vision of me when I was older. Right. Yeah. But then actually a lot of it came to pass because I got into like, some different spiritual traditions at one point. I was a monk at one point. I was a bodyguard at one point. Got into martial arts and all this stuff. But then, before I went to grad school, I had apprenticed with some different one of my kung fu teachers and this other old Chinese lady who was my mentor for acupuncture. And I was going around before I even went to grad school. I was like working kind of under them, and I was this traveling kind of doctor healing all these people with, during herbs, acupuncture, and all kinds of weird stuff. Hypnotherapy and all kinds of neat stuff. So it became like that vision became real. But so as far as like the martial arts go, so I left small town Ohio, got in the military. I was in the in the Navy. Wasn't on a boat or anything, but I was built weapons for the Navy, which is like a neat job, you know.
That's
it's
awesome.
Yeah,
Okay. Like Tony Stark.
yeah. No, it's like freaking pretty
Iron Man.
pretty high, intense. But then
Okay.
when I got out of there, I was living in Guam, actually.
Okay.
It's kind of this neat mix of like, it's a miniature Hawaii, but it's kind of Asian-esque, and
It's
did
kind
a
of
lot
in the middle, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of-
yeah.
yeah.
So I got out, and then I was I got recruited for different things. Some we can't talk about, but
Okay.
but one of them was as a bodyguard, actually, for a while, because I was ex-military, and I got approached by, well, I was doing like concert security because I had a certain look.
Yeah. You
know,
got the intimidating, like
that. I wasn't that big. I was, I was a lot smaller actually, but just the way I carried myself, and they're like, okay, you have a look. I'm like, all right, cool, I have a look, whatever that means.
Okay.
But then I was a bodyguard for a while. I got to wear a suit and like have a little piece, and
the earpiece and the sunglasses.
not the earpiece, but like it's interesting though. I wouldn't know this if I hadn't lived it, but like Guam's like this little playground for like kind of weird, corrupt shit going on.
Is it?
From people, like it's like this middle ground between the States and Asia, and so it's like, and it's like so there's weird things going on. So some of my clients were just weird, shady people, and I saw a lot of just things were like going fast. All these things were happening. A lot of crazy shit around me. I was like, oh, this is intense, So, but then within that, when I was a bodyguard, and then some people I knew in the military, a lot of times we just spar, we just fight, and people had their different styles they studied, and some of them were just like street fighters or whatever. But it's just like this thing people do in the military. We get together and we all just throw down. Yeah. And then when I was a bodyguard, I worked with some other ex-military guys.
Yep.
And I knew some special forces guys too, because they were crazy, and
special forces.
They do stupid shit, and they can get away with anything too. I mean, wish I had that pass when I. But anyways, so a lot of times we're training together, work out together, run together, go hiking, and then we're just all thrown down, and that was just kind of what you do. And then when I was doing the bodyguarding, a lot of it was like more for security bodyguarding, and so like a lot of different takedowns and like protection, personal protection stuff, and I was like, this is cool. So and then when I was there,
did they just throw you into that, or was there like, okay, you got to take this?
You just meet these guys, and I was young.
Does this twist this?
I was young too, so I was just like, let's do it. Let's do. I mean, you go out, you're during whatever, you're out, hiking around, you're playing the ocean, and like, okay, drink some beers, and everyone ends up fighting. That's just what you do.
Yeah, that is true.
But then, so as I was saying, like, there's just a lot of shady stuff going on around me. People I knew, people got disappeared, whatever,
Okay, yeah.
And I had met this older dude who had been a monk and had been a world traveler, and he studied all these different traditions. Actually, a couple of people, my first mentors were there. Okay. And, one was more of a spiritual mentor in all these different traditions. Another one was like a mentor for like the more the kind of energy arts, the Taoist cultivation and that whole thing, and some kung fu as well. And that, so with some background in just roughneck martial arts, but then got into more traditional martial arts, some of the kung fu things and some of the internal practices and the meditation thing, and then with the spiritual things coming together. So I kind of went down that path. And actually, when I came back to the States, I was a monk for a while, right? And it was just...
So when you say you were a monk, how what is it like? You had
I lived in a temple, shaved his head. I lived in a temple up in the mountains, and did the whole bit for a while.
Really?
Which awesome. And then there's all these people that come there. They don't strictly follow that one thing because it's America. So everyone, I studied this. I studied, so you end up learning from all these different things from all these people
it's
too.
like MMA school.
Yeah, exactly. It's like spiritual MMA. Okay. So that was kind of intense and interesting. But so the martial arts and the kind of the spiritual thing kind of all evolved together. Then you got in, like I said, more traditional styles. And even like when I came back too, I was kind of studying all these different things. I just like went nuts, and I was just consuming everything I could, all these different Eastern traditions, and stuff on healing and herbs and freaking everything I can get my hands on. I was just
you're absorbing.
Yeah, I was a nut. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And even at one point I did something. Remember before the UFC, they had the tough man competitions.
Of
Do you
course.
remember those?
You went in those?
I did.
No. You did tough man?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And it's,
Okay.
I mean, I got my ass kicked, but mostly because I was so deconditioned, you know, because I kind of went into hippie phase. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, you're just more idealistic, you know, and I wasn't working out, I wasn't training, you know, and so whatever I had gained from my, you know, from the roughneck stuff, I was just probably all gone. So I was just more idealistic at that point.
Okay.
And I got my ass kicked. And then afterwards, I was so just exhausted and I was just vomiting in the bucket, you know, because
I would imagine.
It was just, you know, I got pummeled for however many rounds and then just vomited for, you know, half hour. That was
well, it's pretty crazy how it works when like I was doing some jiu-jitsu here for a while and I was the biggest guy there, you know, by far. But a lot of the guys, Taiwanese guys, you know, 1 belt above or 2 belts above, half my size, half my weight, got my ass kicked all the time.
They hand it to you.
Yeah, it's just like, here you go. Would you like this back, sir?
Yeah, like your ass back.
Yeah, it's like, holy crap. You know, you're just sitting there. It's crazy how when somebody knows what they're doing, you're just like, wow. You think you know a little bit, and you're like, my first day, you know, a guy took my back, and I kind of like, you know, waddled over kind of to the wall, and I peeled him off with the wall, and they're looking at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, Habib, you know, and they're like, yeah, we don't. It was like black. What was it? Wakanda Forever. It's like, yeah, we don't do that here. I'm like, oh, you don't peel people off the wall, you know?
That's not how it's done.
Yeah, that's not how it's done. And it's funny because another time, one of my buddies, he had my back, and so I kind of like had him against like a bit of a corner, and I kind of like loosened up the legs, and I was spinning around because I watched a lot of UFC. So like Anthony Pettis, loosen it up, spin out, and then I end up on top. Yeah. So while I loosened them up and I spun, he kind of like squeezed. And he like crushed a rib. It hurt so bad.
Yeah.
It's still
that lasts for a while.
It's still wonky.
Yeah. No, that takes a while.
One rib. Yeah. Bye guys. Bye. And it's just like that was years ago. Yeah. And it's still, if you get it on the right angle, it's still wonky, that one rib. Man, like, crazy.
And that sucks. I mean,
crazy. Yeah, it does.
That's one thing I wanted to do here is get back into the training because I trained in California on and off, mostly off, but over the years, you know, I trained and did, you know, whatever, you know, got into the Jiu Jitsu when in grad school and then some kickboxing and then whatever stuff, but it wasn't consistent enough to like, obviously not do anything professional.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And most of the time I get my ass kicked, but it's fun, you know, still. But I wanted to do more here. Yeah. But now I have all these old injuries. Yeah. And they creep up and they're right there waiting. They just, you know, so I rolled once here and I was like, and messed my knee up and like, you know, I was like, shit, okay, I got to be cautious. So maybe I'll just drill and practice, but not spar. Gotcha. Because I don't know.
There's a lot of, great places around here.
Yeah, no. And I'm connected to those guys down there at AZ. Yeah, those are cool guys. Steven
Shu. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
They're about to do, I think it's next month. They got Tap Out Island.
Yeah, he's got a thing he's promoting. Yeah.
I'm supposed to go see him maybe next week.
Yeah, he's cool. Talk about some stuff. I saw him last night. We was doing a little bit of work, rehab stuff for some things. And
he's a great dude. I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to at least be around that vibe. You know, like with you back in California, that was like my main social life for a while. It was like the fight gym. You know, I'd go after work. I'd go and hang out, treat the fighters, treat the coaches. We'd go talk shit and just
that's one of the funnest things. Like when I go back and I see like my friends and stuff like that. All we do is talk shit. All we do is make fun of each other. It's just like because we're like the old generation where it's like, you know, pussy or whatever.
It's still okay.
Make fun of each other. That's all we do.
No, and
it's crazy because I guess people don't do that anymore. Which is
you're not allowed.
You're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah. No.
You know what's crazy when I actually go to like Mexico, where I have like relatives in Mexico. That's all they do. Yeah. Like it's legit.
Yeah.
You know, everybody calls each other gay or fat or whatever. That's all they do. That's it. That's the only thing that they say. Like there's no conversation at
all. The no-go words is like
that's all
just free flow. Yeah.
There's no like so then, you know, you go back to Canada and you're kind of like shocked that, you know, like
you ought not say that.
You shouldn't say that. Then you talk to your buddies and like, when did this happen? And they're like, I never heard of that. What's going on here? Yeah.
Mixed messages.
It's kind of crazy.
So confused.
It's kind of crazy.
So confused.
Let me pull up some pictures, man.
Yeah. What we got?
Here we go. Boom.
Oh, my
This is it.
passport. Oh, that's when I was moving here. Yeah,
that was such a when you wrote out a really long post on this one, right?
Yeah.
Like this is time to go. Basically.
Yeah. It was like, it was
It's a
just
really
like,
cool one.
in some regards, being thankful for like that. Like I said, I had the opportunity to just, help work with so many, like thousands of people as a, acupuncturist.
Yeah.
And I used to do like some clinical
Yeah.
hypnosis stuff and coach, kind of life coaching and whatever things. And, and then had my son, beautiful human,
Yeah.
amazing person, and like, so
That's what it's all about.
successful father, I feel,
Yeah.
and, but it just kind of hit that point to where you have to go, and I had to make that decision.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wrote a nice long thing, and
Great.
it's kind of my way of saying bye to people who I didn't get to see.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, wish me luck, my journey. It's like this, whatever this is, it's a sabbatical, it's a spiritual journey, it's a rebirth,
time.
it's all kinds of things.
Whatever it is.
But that's what it is, Yeah. So that's
Love that.
yeah, that was
Beautiful. Love that.
what's this?
That was such a good picture. I had to use that. The
I-
Taiwan flag.
That's funny you
I
pulled
don't
that
even
up.
know where that is, man.
There's some museum out in what's it, Zhongyi? Somewhere out there.
Oh, really?
There's like this
never even seen
the
it.
forgotten soldiers or something. It was about these Taiwanese soldiers that fought in the Golden Triangle in Burma and stuff back in, like, I think around the Vietnam War era.
Okay.
So anyways, interesting little museum, but they had this thing you could
Cool picture. And they
try
had
on the
gun
guns
there.
and stuff.
Try on the gun.
Yeah. Looked
Try the
cool.
gun. Try the gun.
I've been part of the Taiwanese Defense Force.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah,
How'd
yeah.
you meet the boys?
Oh, yeah. So I met Stephen Chow back in probably, I started training back in probably 2014 or 15 or something.
Yeah.
And I was at some other place. They were doing like mixed martial arts and didn't work out there. And then he had started training he broke away from where he was training at.
Okay.
And I started with him, and we kind of connected pretty quick and
Great
became
guy.
good friends. And like over the years, just like got a lot of like respect for each other. He's awesome dude, like good friend. Like he's a brother. Like
He's a great guy.
for real.
That
Like
guy,
he's solid dude.
Yeah.
Love the guy.
Kai as well. Yeah.
And Kai, I met through him
Okay.
because he had been training Kai and working with him for a number of years, and they were traveling back and forth to Taiwan.
Yeah.
A lot of Kai's earlier fights were here,
Yep.
which you probably were aware of.
For sure.
And
I
I
commentated a couple of them.
Yeah, I did a lot of work with Steven and his other coaches and fighters and all that stuff. And it, progressed over time.
Yeah.
And after a while, just like show up, a few nights a week and just like, oh, yeah, anyone need anything? Or people in training camp or whatever.
Okay.
And same with Kai. Whenever he was training other places, so he wasn't around as much. But
Okay.
whenever I saw him, like, hey, you need anything? And I would do some acupuncture, some cups, some adjustments, whatever. And usually when he's in fight camp or after a fight, So yeah,
Nice.
I think I met Kai. It's been probably 5-6 years ago as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Good guy. He's
a great guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's fun. He's
The
cool
funny
to talk to.
The funny thing about him is when that viral video of Mark Zuckerberg training MMA goes around, everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Mark Zuckerberg!" I'm like, "Is that Kai? Kai's training Zuckerberg."
Yeah.
I'm like,
He was
and
in
then I
privates
messaged
with him. Yeah.
I'm like, "Is that Kai?" And everybody was just like so blown away that Mark Zuckerberg was training, and I'm like, "Holy shit, that's Kai!"
Yeah.
And then I messaged him. I'm like, "Is that you?" He's like, "Yeah, it's me." I'm like, "Oh, congrats!
Nice.
That must be a great gig."
He should train Elon instead. I'm on Team Elon.
Team Elon. Oh,
Yeah. But anyways, everyone has their
there you go. That's hilarious. Oh man.
Anyways, we'll go there.
I actually thought that would have been a great scrap. I wanted that to happen. Yeah. I wanted that to happen in the Coliseum. Let's go. Man.
Yeah,
Let's
do it.
go.
Do it. Yeah. Archery, one of my favorite hobbies, dude.
Really?
Like I would do it every day after work.
I believe
if
they
I
have
could.
it here.
Yeah, no,
Have you
I've
found it
gone
here?
some ranges here.
Okay.
And I just ordered a custom-made bow. Some guy's making it.
Beauty.
I get it in a week or two.
Okay.
But I just, for me, it's more of a mental game.
Yeah.
Like, I do it after I work because, like, you're working with humans and, like, there's a lot of outgoing energy. And you have to track all what's going on with them and navigate their whole experience and, like, what's going on with them. And I mean, it's just so much outpouring of attention and energy and care, all these things. But so for me, archery is a way of, like, totally letting go of everything because you have to, like, do all these things in your body, but you also have to like totally let go of
your own zone
of that
right?
conscious part of the mind. And then you also have to, on top of letting go, you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to, so it's not aiming with your physical senses, you're aiming with your, other than conscious aspect, right?
Love that.
So for me, that was a way of releasing and like totally just letting go. And that was my my Zen place, dude.
Beautiful,
like,
man.
You saw that video I sent you.
Yeah, of course. It's so cool.
This
Yeah,
dude throws his ball up in the air, like boom, it's just like popping moving targets. It's freaking great.
I know how you feel 100% because I own a restaurant, and it's all about like, you got to take care of your staff. You got to take care of the manager. I have to, and I work with my wife. I have to take care of my wife. I have to make sure customers are happy. So there are times where like I go to the gym in the morning, you know, by myself. And then sometimes people are like, hey, can I come? And I'm like, no, no, you can't.
It's my time. My time.
And then, so that, and then like just deep diving. Like if I just get my laptop and I have a few hours, I'll just deep dive on how to make my business better.
Nice.
How to make my channel better. That's it. That's I mean, and then UFC.
You got to prioritize, dude. Like there's so many things that so many things that I'm interested in that I want to do. But years back, I'm like, no, okay, I need to have like prioritize 3 major like skill sets or hobbies.
Exactly.
And then if those are become automatic, and I feel like there's some degree of mastery,
get another one.
I'll add another one.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's so many freaking things I want to do. Like, oh, I'm gonna play guitar. I mean, I do play drums, and like, okay, I want to get really good at drums. But then I'm gonna do all these other things. Like, I want to surf, I want to skateboard, or whatever.
Yeah,
I want to do martial arts. You know, but you can't. You just can't.
do them all.
It's not freaking realistic. So
you want to get that freedom of you know. Yeah, you just you got to do it. Love it. I got a few more.
Oh yeah. I love that. Yeah, that's my son.
Yes.
Yeah. That was back. How old was I?
Hey.
I was probably maybe 25, 26. I mean, I was 25 when he was born. So he
like 2 there. I was
probably like maybe a 1 or so. Yeah. So I was probably like 25, 26, maybe. Yeah. Back in my hippie ex-monk days, you know, long hair.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. No, he was a cute baby.
One of my cousins had hair like that, and I couldn't because my hair when it grows out. It's like remember Kid and Play, that one dude where the hair would just kind of go up.
Nice, yeah.
That's how my hair would go. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, being a dad is one of the best things.
It's the best thing in the world, man.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's another level of love and success. I mean, that was honestly my son is the first time I experienced love in this world, in this lifetime.
I understand.
And it's the most powerful thing. Yeah, people have no idea. Like me, I don't know. People use the word kind of like I think kind of cheaply. Yeah. But like that was the first time that like I had that real sense of love, and that it drove me to become so much better because maybe I didn't matter enough to myself to like do what I need to do to like become who I should be.
I get it.
But when you have a kid, like at least for me, that was like it was like a spiritual calling. It's like, okay, dude, you got to get it. You got to do it.
Goggins mode.
Yeah, freaking powerful. It was powerful. I
agree. 100%.
Still is. Yeah,
it still is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with me. Bye, guys. Thank you. Talk soon. Yeah. Boom. Looks like you get. Is that Steve?
Yeah, that was here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was during. I think that's the first night I met Steven. Oh, yeah? And I have a friend that goes there. She introduced me to Steven in the gym. And I'd done some acupuncture on her when she was visiting California.
Beauty.
And then so I was like, hey, you want some adjustments? I was doing some chiropractic adjustments. That's usually the case. Within a few minutes of meeting someone, I usually have my hands on them,
perfect.
Cracking something or twisting something, just kind of how it goes.
Steven's a good dude, man.
He's a good dude too.
I think he's doing well with his gym and stuff.
It's picking up.
Talking about that in the beginning. He's like, should I do it? I'm like, just go for it.
Yeah,
no, give it a shot. Yeah,
I like Steven. I can see like we hit it off right off the bat. Like I can see we're gonna have fun.
Legit guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, solid dude.
Sure. Solid dude.
Yeah. Haha, turtles.
There with the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that was some little PKB event back down in California. I think I don't. Kai was there. I don't think Kai was fighting, but then I think some guy from Taiwan was visiting. He fought there.
Oh, really?
Some of our guys from the gym fought there, and I just took the opportunity, like, oh, hey, I'm hanging out with the Ninja Turtle.
That's such a cool picture. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. When's the last time you get to hang out with the Ninja Turtle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When's that? One more picture, bro.
Yeah. What do you got? Oh shit!
That's such a good picture, bro.
I was pull that one, dude.
Pull that one, bro.
I better have a drink.
We had to talk about the military one, brother. Yes. So yes.
All right, another drink.
Such a good picture, dude.
That was
got to pull at least one
fresh young in there, dude. Yeah. That was like straight out of boot camp.
Looking good. Yeah.
No, that was I left small town Ohio, got into traveling around the world, figure myself out, found all kinds of crazy shit along the way, and that's where I'm at now. It's like let's so similar time, like okay, then it's like leaving everything behind, right? And you're like going out in the world, have no fucking clue what's gonna happen.
Yep.
So this little journey now is kind of similar. It's like I'm trying not to over plan it, over control it. I'm just you have a basic, you have
kind of let the cards fall.
Yeah, you have certain parameters you want to work within. You have certain standards and morals, and you're going a certain direction. But I'm letting things unfold as I do. It's kind of like this Zen thing of like just let it unfold and then be pleasantly surprised. Because if you try to control too much and micromanage everything, well, then when you get it, it's like you've already anticipated that outcome. And it's like, oh, now what? But if I don't, but then also you're filtering out a lot of things that could happen, these random chance meetings and opportunities, and it's like hanging out with you, and
it's awesome.
It's like I wouldn't have planned that, but I'm remaining open to seeing how things unfold, like certain opportunities. And I think we were talking that first day I met you. It's about later when we get into some possible business ideas.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm open to collaborations and networking and all these things.
Yep.
But you have to be open to these things occurring and these chance meetings and all these things. So it's like you really you have to let go a lot of that need to control everything. And it's not easy because you always want to step in and start manipulating things again.
It's tough.
So to be somewhat hands off and let things happen, it's a whole nother level of self-awareness, like catching yourself all the time.
I agree. I agree. And I think that you come out, just let the cards kind of fall where they may, and enjoy your life, because I think you've gone already. You've done the hard work already. You've done all that stuff. It seems like
I've worked hard. I can say that. Like I can admit that.
You've done what you did, what you had to do. You did the dad thing, and that's great. And you're still obviously still doing the dad thing. You did all the things you needed to do. Now you're here.
Took care of business, took care of humans.
Kind of. I wouldn't say selfish, but now you can kind of be like, I want to do something for me. I want to do something for me.
It has a negative connotation, but I don't think so. It's like it is about me. It's like it's all I've spent my whole adult life taking care of other humans.
About as opposite.
Taking care of other humans. Now it's time for me to take care of myself. Like get back in good shape. I'm not in where I need to be in that perspective. Get back in shape. Get my internal practices back together. Line up my hobbies. Fill all these voids for myself. I mean, like we were talking about, dating and stuff before. And right now that's not even my priority. Be honest with you. I mean, I'm obviously aware of
that there's gorgeous women.
You can't unsee it, but but that's just not my priority right now. There's all these things I want to layer in so I can feel like I'm living the life that I want. Right. And that's who does that? That's a radical,
very few people.
That's a very radical idea, for a lot of people. But I feel like I deserve that. And so the idea of being selfish without any negative connotation, it's like actually a good thing, because it's like this continuation of the spiritual path I was on, when I was young.
I think one way is you could say selfish, but another way would be like you paid your dues. You paid your dues. You did all the things you had to do. You made the right decisions.
I made some shitty decisions.
Well, so did I. Man.
I made a lot of shitty decisions, dude.
Well, here's the shitty decisions. I made some bad
and making it through.
You get it done, and now you're here. You're in Asia. It's beautiful. Beautiful place. Beautiful people here.
So many opportunities. And
you're plugging into the community.
I want to network, and I may do some work with some of the other fighters and meet some of the people from the other gyms, and so maybe still continue some of the rehab work. But it's also a good way of networking, because I'm not just a bum hanging out. I have something of value to offer. So it's a good way of networking and meeting people, and that may lead to business opportunities, collaborations in the future. So I don't know. I'm letting it just kind of do its thing.
Beautiful.
And in the process, I'm enjoying my life.
Enjoy the ride, man. I mean, I always tell my daughter the same thing. She goes to local school, so sometimes there's a lot of pressure and stuff there. And I always just tell her, kind of enjoy the ride, enjoy your life, right? Because it's,
that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, right?
Yeah.
And so she uses that. The other day they had she's graduating grade 6, right?
Nice.
Finishing grade 6, and they had their what is it, the trip, the class trip?
Yeah,
right.
The field trip.
The field trip. But it's like the graduation trip where there's 3 days or a weekend or something, and I have this. I'm still paranoid, so I have this little. She doesn't have a phone or anything, but she has like
a tracker bracelet or
like
something.
this cell phone wallet thing, like not wallet, like a watch.
Yeah.
That you can call. She can only call me and her mom.
Okay.
And the games suck, so it's perfect.
No,
right?
there you go. Yeah,
so
yeah.
she's got this, and so I'll call her and I'll message her, and she messages me all day, right? And it's great. I love it. It's selfishly, I love that. and you know, I'll be like, okay, you know, how's it going? What are you doing? And she's just like, you know, I'm just enjoying my day. And then she's like, you always tell me, you know, it's short, life's short, so just enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's true. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You're a kid. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
right?
especially for kids. I mean, but
kids,
isn't as an adult? Like some days, like
True.
I'm quite like so. I'm still in vacation mode, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes I have quiet days. Maybe a couple days in a row, I go without talking to another human, other than like the clerk at 7-Eleven asking, you know, if I want a bag or not, and I'm like just kind of nodding or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, so I'll go for a couple days, but like I have quiet days or have my days where I'm introspective and still dealing with old, you know, processing old shit, which is part of the process.
It's like a detox.
Yeah. So maybe I'm not enjoying that day, but I embrace it because I have the opportunity to do that. Yeah. Like before, I'm just like so inundated with like stimulus all the time, like always, you know, a responsibility.
Yeah.
But now I have the opportunity to like, I have all day. To do my thing.
Yeah,
you know, I go work out, I go train,
awesome.
I tinker around, I fill my day up with whatever. And it's maybe it's not like this not fun. But it's like it's my day.
It's your day.
And so I embrace that like that's part of the process.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, brother. That's beautiful. So let's say best case scenario, the next 5 years.
5 years.
In Taiwan.
Oh.
Best case scenario. What would it be? What would it look like?
That's
3 years, maybe 3 years. 5's a lot.
I mean, hopefully I'm like get past my vacation mode and
but
you know, and I establish myself in like the lifestyle I want. I'm doing the things I want, have my hobbies, my interests, nice friend group, you know, a good social network where I can plug into and enjoy anytime. It'd be cool at some point, you know, if maybe some business opportunities arise, whether it's my own, I have some ideas for myself, or maybe some collaborations. And I plug in and do that whole thing.
Beautiful.
Maybe some period of time I'm doing some of the, you know, acupuncture rehab work just to keep that fresh and keep it, because I still love doing it.
Enjoying it.
Yeah, I just don't want to be burnt out during it. And then ideally, you know, there's the idea, the thought that like maybe I'll meet someone cool and
of course
we do cool things and have that, you know, kind of new that life partner that we can travel, we can enjoy the day to day and share life together.
Yeah. I love that.
That would be a cool thing, but I'm not in any hurry for that. But I you know, perhaps in the future that'll come about. Yeah.
I think that you're in the right place for that, because this place is just an island full of beautiful women.
Yeah, I'm not oblivious to the prospects.
It's and
but,
people are nice. Weather's pretty solid. I mean, I don't know how it compares to California, but it's better than Alaska, which is where I live. Pretty close. So. And it's beautiful. It's a good place to be.
It's always been easy making friends here. Ever since I've been coming here, meet friends of friends, and then just built nice little social networks. And it's always been easy, especially compared to the alternatives, right? Yeah. So so it's been nice. It's been a good experience.
Brother, so. we're at like an hour already. Time flies.
Nice.
So,
So
do you have anything that you want to add before we call it and get some dinner and another beer?
Well, I mean, like I know you got a pretty good network of, you know, with the fight gyms or any of those people, and you know, feel free to reach out. You know, I mean, you know, I'll do. You know, right now I'm just kind of working just to help people. If people need anything, they're, you know, they can reach out. Let's talk, you know, let's see what's going on, or just want to pick my brain about stuff, or just introduce themselves and say, hey, you know,
sounds good.
Yeah. So I'm open to making friends and potential whatever opportunities for the future, whatever. So it's good. And it's good to see you and hang out with you again.
Appreciate it, man. Talking. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And when I met you that day, I thought, I have to do this podcast.
Those guys too, like John and Peggy, they're solid.
I love John and Peggy.
Yeah.
I still got to get John. I've had Peggy on a couple times.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I still have to get John. John went through super busy phase with his book and his all his schooling stuff. So now,
Yeah, he's awesome.
Before baby comes,
Yeah.
the baby comes,
I've known Peggy
do it.
on social media for a couple of years. Then I studied with her more recently.
Yeah.
When I went and met John, we hit it off right off the bat. Like we were talking, we're on the same page philosophically, politically, and all these things. And like, all right, this dude's cool. I'm in. So yeah,
I love it.
But yeah, hopefully we can hang out again. And
of course. And anytime, brother.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, fantastic.
Appreciate it, man.
Nice to have you. Let's get you some dinner. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see.
Thank you everybody for watching Eddie's show. We feel only happiness, don't feel any sorrow. Welcome everybody to watch more on his content. Eddie Live Podcast. Eddie Live Podcast.